What's up guys, Chris from Review Cave here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts on Chapter 2 of the 7 Deadly Sins sequel series, The 4 Nights of the Apocalypse. Now where we left off with last chapter, we got the introduction to Percival, his grandfather, and Ironside, who was seemingly Percival's personal nemesis for the series at this point. After killing his grandfather, Percival leaves God's Finger, which is this giant mountain that leaps all the way above the clouds, where him and his grandfather have been living for the past 16 years. And after his grandfather's death, he decides to go on a journey to find his father and discover why he killed his grandfather. And just so you know, there will be massive spoilers for the 4 Nights of Apocalypse manga, due to the fact that I will be talking about the latest events in the story as this series continues. So we start off this chapter as Percival is climbing down the mountain so he can reach Britannia. And even though he's climbed for a whole day, he hasn't reached below the clouds yet. So after resting for a little bit and thinking of his grandfather, he manages to get down and see the vastness of Britannia. However, he gets incredibly excited and accidentally lets go of the mountain, falling down and crashing into a flying bird monster. Percival jokingly says that since it's basically saved his life, he won't eat any of its kind again, for this bird only to throw him down again. But then Percival then crashes into a tree and then falls down basically unharmed after a few somersaults in order to secure his landing. When he gets up, he sees this little fox-like creature staring at him. Percival, never seeing a creature like that before, basically goes on to say who he is and that he took him 2 whole days to climb down that mountain in order to get to the lands of Britannia. Fox seemingly confused, and since it's not a talking animal like Hawk, unfortunately, so it doesn't seem like it's going to be joining Percival anytime soon. And Percival just trying to make friends with this wild fox, basically saying his life story, asking where there's villages, where there's people, and what his grandfather told him. And as this fox walks away, Percival tries to catch up to it, and then the fox just runs away. But after the fox runs away, Percival manages to leave the forest, and he sees a bunch of people in a cart off in the distance. It's revealed that they are the Cat's Street Troupe, and they are basically a wandering circus performer troupe that right now are in the middle of nowhere just practicing their routine. Simple enough. And even though they're all practicing, like the leader seemingly has some sort of minor fire-based magic, using it for some nice little parlor tricks, and the woman seemingly has some sort of ability for misdirection, as the monkey she has basically like appears and reappears through her ring. It could be magic, or it could just be sleight of hand. It is most likely magic, since we are in the world of the 7 Deadly Sins after all. And as the troop leader is pointing towards the 3rd member, he's scolding him as he is not practicing at all. This guy Donnie, who is basically saying, who are we practicing for? There's no point in performing if there's no cash in it. And as he's saying this, Percival starts clapping, saying how they're awesome, and everyone's shocked to see that someone's there. Percival saying that he wants to see it again, and right before any of the other troop members can answer him, Donnie comes up to him and asks if he has any money. And as the other troop members are telling him that they're not charging anything since, you know, they're basically practicing. But as Donnie asks Percival for money, he's like, what's money? Seemingly pissed off, he asks for the luggage of Percival. Percival, as the naive child, just gives it to him. And then right before anything happens, he basically shows Percival what his power is. And it seems to be some sort of gravity magic, because as he slams his 2 hands together, Percival starts to float. And then as Percival's asking how he's doing this, he basically gets into the cart with his friends and just starts driving off immediately. And the other 2 are just basically scolding and yelling at him for stealing from a kid and just leaving him floating in the air. Even though he's saying that the effects of his spell will wear off soon, they're basically going to leave a kid in the air all by himself in the vast wilderness. And as this troop is contemplating where this kid is from, all of a sudden Percival just runs at high speed right past the troop's cart and stops and goes back, showing that he's basically, you know, super fast, and he caught up with the horse in no time. Still kind of freaked out, they kind of give back his luggage, and then Percival is asking him if they know someone that he's looking for. When he gives the name Ironside, they ask who this is, and Percival, with a very serious look, says that Ironside is his father and has killed his gramps. And to the shock of everyone else, they're asking if this is just a trip for revenge. Percival, obviously he's still young, but he doesn't know what this kind of journey this really is, because he still wants to know why his father killed his gramps and why he attacked them in the first place. Now, I can see that since, even though this series is called The 4 Nights of the Apocalypse, it's very obvious that this circus troupe is going to be traveling with Percival for the first leg of his journey, similar to how Elizabeth and Hawk were basically Meliodas' companions for like the first few chapters of the Seven Deadly Sins manga until they caught up with Diane and then Bond. So anyway, after all this, the troupe says that they really don't know anything, and they offer Percival the opportunity to go to the village with them, and maybe even train him for food. Percival getting really excited since he's never seen a village before, and he's never really interacted with a bunch of other people since his grandfather has told him all this stuff when he was a kid. He is insanely excited to meet new people and see new places. Obviously, Donnie's like, they're not going to take him for free, and asks if he can do any tricks. Percival gets out a bow and arrow and aims his arrow at an apple in the distance. As he shoots it, it somehow turns around and it hits Donnie on the side of the head, shaving off like a good chunk of his hair. So this could actually be like semblances of maybe Percival's own magical power. Perhaps it's something where he can like inadvertently redirect objects to other things, especially if he misses. So it could be something where he's unknowingly manipulating the object, like he can't control it yet, and he could, if he masters this, he can like shoot arrows or even throw objects to specific people and control their trajectory. Or this could just be for comedic effect, and he just can't shoot a bow and arrow right. I just like to think that it's possible that it's like his early stages of his own magical power awakening. But anyway, so after all this, the troupe basically introduces themselves completely and saying that a bunch of people live in the village, and there are a bunch of towns and villages in Britannia, and these three have been putting on shows to everyone. As Percival is saying that their magic tricks are really awesome, Donnie comes in and says that these half-ass tricks, they're not really awesome. It'd be better if they didn't have to rely on these half-ass powers to make money. So I'm not sure what this means. It more or less confirms that this is some sort of magic, and it is possible that these three don't really like want these kinds of powers due to how weak they are, or maybe they think that all this magic is kind of bad for regular people, and that they wish that they could do something to earn some cash without having to rely on such seemingly weak abilities. They then go on to say that there are just a bunch of talentless hacks. Donnie then goes on to say that if you're a talentless hack, you can't really make your dreams come true. The leader of the troupe actually says that they are actually people that failed to become holy knights in the past. Their dreams were in fact crushed. They're dropouts. And as they mention holy knights, Percival remembers that his father, Ironside, and his grandfather were previously holy knights. This shocks the troupe, saying like, what country are you from? What kind of what holy knights were they like? Stuff like that. Percival doesn't know what a country is. Everyone's shocked to see that Percival is a son of a holy knight. Now, we all know that basically from the hints from the first chapter that Percival's grandfather and Ironside were most likely holy knights to King Arthur back in Camelot. So there is some theories on how this could end up going. We do know what country that Ironside and Bolgus were from. But Donnie isn't really believing his story, and he's like, holy knights this, holy knights that, whatever. So they end up talking about having more of a conversation as they're talking about the village, how they're going to be treating Percival to a meal, and they'll just drop Percival off in the village for now. And then all of a sudden they see two villagers running towards them. As they're running, they say that the village is in danger and that it's being attacked by a wolf. Percival doesn't know what a wolf is, obviously, since he's lived off of like fish, small animals, and like giant birds on top of the mountain for all these years. Donnie getting kind of cocky, saying that they don't need holy knights to save them from a wolf. And then the very next page, once they get to the village, it's a giant monster wolf devouring an entire house. Just like that, Donnie makes a quick 180 and starts to run away, and the wolf monster tries to follow them. So yeah, this is honestly kind of funny. As soon as they're faced with real danger, Donnie's like, okay, we need the holy knights. Let's get the hell out of here. But then Percival jumps out of the cart, and then as they're asking what he's doing, Percival says that his grandfather told him this: unnerve the evil and help the weak. Risk your own life to become one who protects what's important. Saying that he'll never feel the way they do again, and that he won't let anyone else feel the same way either. So Percival gets ready to shoot the wolf with his bow and arrow, and just like before, unfortunately, his arrows honestly miss, curve around, hit him in the head, and pins his cloak to the ground. Percival really needs to shorten his cloak, because that is going to be a major hindrance in battles from now on. The wolf charges towards Percival, and Donnie, of all people, lunges in and saves him, getting clawed at the back by the wolf. Percival asks why he came back, and Donnie, in like a joking manner, says that because of Percival, he got fired up and after sitting down on his ass for so long, he just wanted to do something. He tells Percival to get away as this giant wolf is coming at him, but Percival manages to stop this wolf monster with one hand. Jumps up in the air, and then he just slaps the wolf straight into the ground and defeats it like it was nothing. And everyone basically celebrates Percival saving the village from that wolf monster, while the troop is also incredibly surprised at how strong Percival is. And then we get these last 3 panels of the same page showing the same mark that was on that stone bird that Percival and his grandfather caught back in chapter 1, fading away and disappearing. We then see that same wolf as before, and it seems like it's watching Percival through the crystal that it has around its neck. And then we see this new holy knight seemingly saying that that the little run would be able to defeat one of his familiars, and that it is time for the next one. Now, before I do anything, I just want to say to look at the background of the very last page of chapter 2. There is a stained glass window showing Arthur with his new Excalibur, Kath from the last arc of the series, Holy Knights, and Merlin on the right. So we can see that this is probably taking place in Camelot right now. So that is something really awesome. And that's another thing that I want to say, is that the wolf monster has a striking resemblance to Kath, which is very interesting. So it could be that this wolf might be like a new monster made from residual energy from Kath, for all we know. Maybe before Kath was defeated, he used a piece of his energy to, like, you know, have these monsters roaming around Britannia or something. But that's kind of like a minor theory. But I do like the little detail at the end where there's this stained glass window that shows basically the final battle against Kath and Arthur defeating Kath. So this gives us a big clue that this Holy Knight is most likely in Camelot. So we know that Percival is going to have to get to Camelot at some point in order to confront his father, if his father even is in Camelot. And we do know that the next chapter is called A Clue to Father. So it's very possible that Percival will meet someone with information on his father, or maybe he will meet a child of one of the sins, and it will end up leading to discovering Ironside's true motives. But yeah, that was chapter 2 of the 4 Nights of Apocalypse. This was a really nice chapter. It really gives you the feel of an early fantasy adventure series, with Percival just landing in a forest, finding a circus troupe of dropout Holy Knights, and then him saving a village from a giant monster single-handedly. More of these rogue knights, or possible rogue knights, against King Arthur back in Camelot. So this is a really nice series that I cannot wait to keep reviewing for you guys. But what do you think is going to happen next? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell to get notified on future videos. I will start to continue to do more of this 4 Nights of Apocalypse content. Once we reach a certain amount of chapters, I might start doing some type of theory video in the future on what could happen in this series. With all that said and done, I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I hope to see you all next time.